You trained as a musician, I think at the University of Cincinnati.
I did.
Tell us about that.
Well, I grew up in Dallas. Had the benefits of, as I mentioned, going to a private school. We got offered the opportunity to play musical instruments, which was a beautiful thing. You started on the recorder, but you learned to read music around third grade, second and third grade, mainly third is what I remember. And in third and fourth, you were doing the recorder, and then the band director, a gentleman by the name of Mario Foster, a wonderful Catholic man. I said, I want to play clarinet. And I tried it a little bit. And he goes, you know what? I need flute players. So I took up the flute. And then in eighth grade, he taught me privately. And he said, in eighth grade, he said, there's nothing more I can teach you. And I'm going to brag on myself. I don't know. And by ninth grade, I was the #1 flute player in the entire school. And he said, I can't teach you anymore. And he got me to a professional in the Dallas Symphony. And so going to him, David Vornholt, who was from Cincinnati, playing in the Dallas Symphony, I would go take lessons with him. And he pushed me. Got an opportunity to play in the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. And so just through the process of discernment, I think I mentioned earlier, maybe we were talking off camera, I was a big reader. I was considering majoring in English. Did take a couple of years of classes like that at Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati, but I auditioned at various schools, and Cincinnati just seemed to be the best fit. And to this day, I have a few friends that I keep in contact with. An old roommate was in Kansas City not too long ago, and we had a great time with his wife and my wife, and just sitting and talking about being in college. And really, we were very serious. Music students were really pretty darn serious because you were on task. You were practicing. Obviously, you had your studies. I think it's still called a college conservatory of music. So we had to take philosophy and art history, and I took, like I said, a lot of English classes and things like that. Personal finance used to be offered, things like that, or business finance. So you got kind of a rounded education. Art, I mentioned art history, music history, things like that. So great education, really some great teachers. One I would mention was Sam Pogue. There used to be Pogue department stores here. Word was, he, again, probably a well-to-do family. He taught for $1 a year. One of the best lecturers I've ever been around in music. Could stand up and talk, and beautiful, but a great education. Loved music, got an opportunity to play professionally some, but I didn't reach the goals that I had for myself. Didn't win the final auditions that I wanted to win into the bigger orchestras. And so at a point I had to make a decision given my life circumstances and the call of business and some of those responsibilities from my family. In my mid to late 30s, I discerned out of it, and I think it was the right thing to do, and still enjoy hearing orchestras and love music.
You went back to school at some point and got a master's in counseling.
I did that, and worked at that for a while. I've been able to use that. I think if we were talking a little bit about faith earlier, really learning about how human relationships work and being sometimes a part of the healing process. I've come to realize that the #1 thing our Lord does for us, that Jesus does, is he's a healer. And if I could tell people that more than anything about, don't put your hands out at Christianity and say, nah, that isn't for me. No, he's here to heal. He changes your life, and he does it without tearing you apart. Yes, you're broken. We're all broken in some way, but Jesus is a healer. And so being in that process of being able to do a lot of counseling and just sitting with people with different things, I had several priests that would refer clients and things like that. And it led to other things, marriage counseling, and then ultimately my wife and I have been able to prepare a lot of couples for marriage. We really kind of pivoted into that. She has a social work background, but preparing couples for marriage in the Catholic Church has been a really richly rewarding thing. I think we've kind of aged out a little bit. I think they don't necessarily like having grandparents prepare them at this point. But just being able to give back to people that way and listen and learn from them and help them heal in some ways, I think is the great gift of counseling that it brought.